أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيد الخلائق أجمعين، حبيبنا وسيدنا المصطفى الأمين بالقاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين، لا سيما سيدي ومولاي بقية الله في الأراضين، مهدي هذه الأمة وخاتم الأئمة وطاووس أهل الجنة، الحجة بن الحسن العسكري، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب أجرا وهم مهتدون. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. My condolences goes first and foremost to Imam of our time, Sahib al-Asr, Ajal Allah Ta'ala Farajahu al-Sharif, and to all mu'mineen and mu'minat, and to you, my sisters and brothers, for the martyrdom of our 10th Imam Abu al-Hasan Ali ibn Muhammad al-Hadi al-Naqi, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. The life of Imam Hadi, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, like any other Imam, is very interesting, and for us to learn at least a few things from their life, because when we do, it's like a lantern that guides us to the righteousness and to the right path. Imam salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi was born in Surya. Surya is a village that was built by Imam Musa al-Kadhim salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi. And he received the imamah at very, very young age, like his father, Imam al-Jawad salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi, at the age of 8. But that didn't stir any controversy, because already did with his father. And no Shia did question the imamah of Imam al-Hadi salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi. No Shia. Imam salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi stayed in the city of his grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam 12 years to the age of 20. Then he was called upon by Mutawakkil Abbasi to the city of Surra Marra. As you all know, it's now city of Samarra. It's interesting that the people of that time, they knew that whoever left usually didn't come back. And Mutawakkil knew that people will try to stop him from leaving and prevent his order to be carried out. So he sent a very nice, beautiful letter that I yearn to see you, my cousin, and I want to be with you. But of course, everyone knows now what his motive was from moving the Imam salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi from his environment and his people. In the dua that we have from Imam al-Hadi salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi, that in dhukra al-khayr kuntum awwalah wa aslahu wa far'ahu wa muntahah wa ma'dinahu wa muntahah, that in the ziyarat al-jama'a, Imam al-Hadi salawatullahi wa sallam alayhi, which is ziyarat al-jama'a is the name itself, ziyarat al-jama'a al-kabira. Someone came to the Imam and asked him that I want a ziyarah that gathers all the Imam, that whenever I go to any shrine, any place of the Imams, they can recite. And he gave them that. It's one of the most beautiful ziyarah that we have. And it's a ziyarah that there's more than probably 20 commentary on that, like 20 books on that ziyarah. That's beside the articles and beside the speeches and all the conferences that made around that ziyarah. If you notice this ziyarah as well, if anyone reads the ziyarah, it's a ziyarah of aqidah, theology. It's a ziyarah that, like the time of Imam As-Sajjad salawatullahi wa salamu alayh, when he starts giving his ahadith and his teaching through the ziyarat, through the supplications, through the du'as. So Imam salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi resorted to that as well. In that ziyarah, he says, if the goodness, you are the source of the goodness. And we all know the source of the goodness, the actual source of every goodness, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no doubt about it. That Allah who created this creation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who created this universe. So the source of every goodness is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there are different people in the matter of how they deal with that goodness. The first kind, that are the kind of childish, it's the way that they deal with it. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَنَّاعٍ لِلْخَيْرِ مُعْتَدٍ أَثِيمٍ. Right? He prevents goodness. He wants it for himself, but he prevents it. Right? We have a saying in our dialect that لا يرحم ولا يخلي رحمة الله تنزل. That he will not have mercy and will not let the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes. So you see, some people, and I've seen this firsthand, they don't do anything, right? They don't provide for their family the way they should. They don't provide for their community the way they should. But when they see someone who does, they envious towards him. So they try to stop him from helping others as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in regard of those people that ألقيا نعم ألقيا في جهنم كل كفار عنيد, right? Every one who is kafir and stubborn, then he describes them مناع للخير معتد أثيم. So there is, of course, one kind, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned these people in a different parts as well in Quran. That إن الإنسان خلق جزوعا إذا مسه الشر جزوعا وإذا مسه الخير منوعا. That a person is, when something happens, a calamity, something bad happens to him, he starts weeping, he starts complaining. You've seen some people, truly it's funny and sad at the same time. If he had an accident or scratch or whatever, they put it on social media. Look what happened. If there's a traffic, he complains about that in the social media. He wants the world to see, oh, I'm stuck in a traffic and how bad I get it. Hey, you have a car, at least you're stuck in an air-conditioned car, right? That's waiting to go for work. Anyways, إذا مسه الخير منوعا. When something good happens, it's mine, right? I earned it, right? I was the one who acquired it. I was. So therefore, he doesn't want others to receive that goodness as well. and that bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is what the world is about now. If you notice, right? We have a super rich countries and super poor countries. And some of those countries, what they do, they have a like overflowing wealth that they don't know what to do with it. They have crops that they don't want, they don't know what to do with it. Right? They say some countries, they throw the wheat and the crops that they have, the excess that they have, in the ocean, so they keep the price at the level that they want, right? So instead of like feeding the millions who want that, no. See, like super rich that have all the wealth, the majority of the wealth in the world, and there are people who cannot afford to feed their own family. So there's no balance here, and that is how human beings are, and they wanted this, how it's funny, some things in regard of the borders, especially with the countries that are former colonies, that, they occupied, they went, they pillaged, they murdered, they didn't uphold the treaties and all of these things, right? And then they say, oh, hold on, don't cross our border. You crossed it. You did it, right? And now you say, no, we don't want any more people here. We have enough. The people, of course, the people who fought you off, you call them terrorists, and still to this day, the people who defending their territory and themselves, you call them terrorists, and you call them that they don't have any rights to that land or to that area that they generations upon generation lived in. So that's one kind. And the second one is he doesn't not just give, as I mentioned, he will prevent others to give as well. أمير المؤمنين ومولى الموحدين أسد الله الغالب علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله وسلامه عليه. He ordered a kind of a date to be given to a person, right? And the amount that he ordered for that person to be to receive was خمسة أوسق, right? It was a measurement that they use. So it's equivalent to this day 900 kilos, which is it's a decent amount. So someone was next to Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah wa salam alayhi. When he heard Amir al-Mu'mineen saying that خمسة أوسق, he said, oh, that's too much for him. One is enough. Amir al-Mu'mineen turned to him and said that أعطي أنا وتبخل أنت, I give. Right? And you uphold. You don't want to give. لا كثر الله في المؤمنين من that I'm paraphrasing من أمثالك من حظك. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not increase your likeness within the mu'mineen. And you've seen these people. You should not give him enough. Why? Why? Right? And then Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi in this beautiful narration start elaborating. Like, don't you say Allahumma khfil al-mu'minina wal-mu'minat wal-muslimina wal-muslimat. So with this dua, you would like them to go where? To heaven, right? Then if you would like them to go to heaven, right? So you want them in this dunya to be comfortable as well, like you. Treat people like the way you want to be treated. So if you want them to go to heaven, and some people are stingy about that as well. Is heaven does it have enough place? I want to be among the people in heaven, but how many people do we have in heaven? So that's how people think. And it's very childish, if you think about it. For example, this planet can provide for everyone that lives on it. But there's unbalance. Why? Because people are like children. It's mine, all mine. You know, we used to see these like cartoons, like Scrooge, if I recall, yeah, that like needs all that. It's mine. That everything. And you know, that's why you see some people, they collect, for example, like 300 Ferraris. For what? For what? Are you gonna use that every day? That's just the Ferraris. I'm not talking about the other cars as well. And that is how people that's how people think. So if you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, truly if people could have done that, they would have stopped the rain from pouring on other places. I just want it just for me. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the exact opposite of that. And A'immat Ahl Bayt salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim, the exact opposite of that. And shaitan is that way. When you see the life of Imam salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, sallallahu alayhi wa Muhammad. أعيدوا ثاني يرحمكم الله. بحب الإمام العسكري الهادي أعيدها ثالثة بأعلى منهما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So the shaitan, he in every way لَأَقْعُدَنَّ لَهُمْ صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. صِرَاطَكَ الْمُسْتَقِيمِ. And each day we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us on what? On that Sirat al-Mustaqim. And He says that I will stand on that Sirat. I will stand, I will sit there, and I will come from their behind, from their right, from their left, from every angle, from every way. And one of the ways is this kind of thinking. And the Imam salawatullahi wa salam alayhi majma'een, you know, the opposite of what the shaitan is. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Surah Yasin, as I mentioned in the beginning, اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم مهتدون. Like follow who? The ones who do not ask you for repayment, for something in return. You know how people pay to get an advice, how people pay to get some enlightenment, but some, when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's given for free, right? And that is the way that the Anbiya were, and that's the way the A'imma salawatullah salam alayhi were. Someone said, I remember once to my uncle that, why do you want forcibly to take people to heaven? I said, yes. Why not? Shaitan takes people by force, and people who follow shaitan take people by force, and they spend billions upon billions of dollars to take people out of their, for them to go astray, and we should sit back and see what's going on. No, we want as well to take people by force to heaven. Why not? What's so bad about it? When they do it, it's good. When we do it, it's bad. Anyways. And there's the third kind. And the third are the one who always haste for everything that is good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, فاستجبنا له ووهبنا له يحيى وأصلحنا له زوجه إنهم كانوا يسارعون في الخيرات ويدعوننا رغبا ورهبا وكانوا لنا خاشعين. Like, سارعوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم. Haste. Some people, without someone asking them, they go and do it. They don't need people to guide. They don't need people to guide them. They are the one who guides people. And that's why some people are shocked and they don't like it when people of the cloth or the people who are scholarly figures, they go astray. Says, those people are supposed to guide us. When they bring us doubts, when they bring us questions like that, go after someone who doesn't bring you doubts, who brings you from doubts to certainty. That's who we should follow. So the Imam salawatullah wasalam alayhi had the title of Al-Hadi. Al-Hadi. And in terms of dealing with people, it doesn't hurt. We all know that this life is a journey and we are in the same boat, right? But sometimes it doesn't hurt if you're like in a premium economy at least. We're not saying like first class or business class, right? So, A'imma salawatullah wasalam alayhim ajma'in, they wanted this for everyone. They wanted goodness for everyone. And they wanted for them before they wanted that for themselves. So, and not just with their followers, like Abu Hashim al-Ja'fari, right? When he needed that money, and he's a narrator from Ahlul Bayt sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a companion. Without him asking the Imam sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Imam sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told him that come to me, and he provided the. But with people who were not followers of the Ahlul Bayt sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they did that through many kind of ways and many means. Once there was this person who was a Waqifi, and Waqifis are the one who are stopped at one of the Imams, like for example Imam Al-Kadhim salawatullah wasalam alayhi, which are the majority of the Waqifis. There are people who are Waqifis on Imam As-Sadiq salawatullah wasalam alayhi, who doesn't believe in Imam Al-Kadhim, and some people are Waqifis on Imam Al-Ridha salawatullah wasalam alayhi. So here is that Imam salawatullah wasalam alayhi, he saw him and he advised him. So this person took the advice but didn't believe it. So what he did, as I mentioned before in regard of in many lectures here in regard of Imam Al-Hadi, Imam Al-Hadi is one of the Imams that showed to the people a lot of miracles. And that was because of, he didn't have sometimes other means to show the people his high status, and he's like from Ahlul Bayt sallallahu alaihi wasallam ajma'in. So through miracles, and one of the case was this, that this person didn't believe in Imam. Imam was in a gathering with Mutawakkil, if I'm not mistaken, and he saw a person, he's babbling, he's talking a lot, he's very talkative, he laughs, and he turned to him and told him that you live like this, and in 3 days you will be dead. And that, of course, shut them up. So he said, I waited for that to happen. And yes, he got sick. On the 3rd day, he died. But still, he didn't believe it. I mean, should have been enough once. But people are like that. Anyways, so the second gathering, this person was, I think his name is Hashim al-Basri, if I'm not mistaken. So he was in that sitting. Imam salawatullah wasalam alayhi said, that man will not sit and eat until he receive a horrible news, a sad news, that he will get up and leave. They were all together, right? So Imam could not know that beforehand. So this person, he washed his hand. He was about just to eat, his son entered. He came and told that your mother fell from the rooftop and she passed away. He got up crying and left. This was one of the ways. Others is like to guide people how to live their day-by-day life. There was this person named Yunus al-Naqash, very nice, very interesting story. Yunus al-Naqash, Naqash means what? Sculpture. Right? That Nahat, sorry. Naqash means someone who paints. So one of those people, one of his job was to paint on precious stones. So someone by the name of Ibn Bagha, one of the generals of Mutawakkil, he sent him a precious stone to sculpt and to what they call it, that to make a rig out of it. So while he was doing it, he accidentally half that stone in the middle. So he came to Imam Salamullah alayhi and said to Imam that, take care of my family, I'm a goner. Why is that? So this is what happened. He says, don't worry about it. Just go back and wait for that for the envoy of Ibn Bagha to come to you. So he came back the next day. He said that his envoy came and told me that could you, one of my wives, she knew about this stone, and I was doing that ring for her. Now the other one knows about it and she's jealous. So could you please make it two stones instead of one? So he said to him that, let me think, give me a night, let me think if I could do it or not. Then he said he made two instead of one for this person by the dua of Imam Salawatullahi wa salam alayhi. This is good and all, but what's truly surprised me, if someone like Mutawakkil Abbasi, right? La'natullah alayh. Ashuruhum al'anuhum. We have a riwayah that the 10th of them, Mu'tasim was the 8th. What was the other one? I forgot. And the 10th one was Mutawakkil. So Mutawakkil, we have a narration about him that Ashuruhum al'anuhum. The most wretched one, the most wicked one is the 10th one. Who is more wretched than a person who dares to plow the grave site of Imam Hussein salawatullahi wa salam alayhi? Who is more wretched to mock Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullahi wa salam alayhi publicly? Who is more wretched to humiliate the Imam of his time? So even this person, when someone as spies, they told that Imam is gathering money to make a coup d'etat against you. So he sent people and they brought the Imam with a big amount of money that still was sealed. Said, where did you get this money from? You are in this city, you're confined. How did you get this money? Where did you get it from? He said that, ask your mother. Go ask your mother. He went and asked his mother. She said, yes, I the one who gave him his money, this money. He said, how come? She said that you got sick and I did neither. So if you are cured and well again, I will give Abul Hassan, Ali ibn Mohammad Al-Hadi, this money. So it's for your sake, instead of Imam Salawatullahi wa salam alayhi to curse him. Another one, non-Muslim. A non-Muslim, the city of Samarra, still to the day, it's not a Shia city. But a lot of non-Shia who don't believe as Imam to be the 10th Imam, infallible Imam, as the way we believe and the way we follow, they still go and ask the Imam salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, and they swear by his name. Why? Why do you think is that? For a good reason, because they go and Imam salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi grants them their hajat. Like Imam Rida salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, like Amir al-Mu'minin salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, like any Imam. So he was called upon by Mutawakkil Abbasi, and whoever called upon by Mutawakkil Abbasi, like imagine yourself if you are now in Syria and called upon by Jolani, right? It's something like bad gonna happen. So he didn't know what to do. He went to a neighbor that he had, was a Shia. This person was from Mosul, and he was Christian, Yusuf ibn Yaqub. And he went to this neighbor and told him that's his problem. He said, I will, how about you do another for our Imam, a living Imam? This brings me to another point as well, that sometimes we need to do another for Imam al-Zaman, Ajallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Right? He is our living Imam. Anyways, so he did that. How much? 100 dinar. 100 dinar. Yes. He went to Samarra, being afraid. He's been called upon. He thinks that he's a wanted man now. And he went to the Samarra. He said, I can't ask a Christian man who's going to ask about the house of the Imam. They don't have mercy upon Muslims, yet alone on Christian. He said, what I'm going to do is I will leave my mount to find its way. If it finds its way, it's a true Imam, it's a true person of who is receiving a message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he went to the Samarra and he left his mount. His mount starts walking in the alleys of Samarra until it stopped on one of the houses. It says, I'm not going to knock. I'm just going to wait here, see what happens. So all of a sudden a bailiff came out, says, you're Yusuf ibn Yaqub? He said, yes. He says, come on in. He went in, says, give me the 100 dinar. Maybe he's going to change his mind. Give me 100 dinar. He gave him the 100 dinar. He went inside, and says, nothing will happen to you from Mutawakkil. And even with all of this, you're not going to become a Shia. You're not going to become a Muslim. But your son will. Allahu Akbar. And his son was boasting among other people, saying that I am the promise of the Imam Abul Hasan alayhi salam to my father. So he went and nothing happened to him, of course. One of the things that Imam sallallahu alayhi revived is the ziyarah. Today I was researching some of the hadith, is not just the ziyarah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the ziyarah al-Ghadir, the ziyarah of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn sallallahu alayhi, to an extent that Imam sallallahu alayhi would tell people that one of his companions, he told one of his companions that go and do a ziyarah for me who was ill, the Imam, and do the ziyarah for me under the dome of Abu Abdullah sallallahu alayhi and the Ha'ar al-Husayni. Wasn't a building. Then someone met this companion and told him, where are you going? He said, I am going to do ziyarah on the behalf, ziyarah Imam Hussein, on behalf of the Imam Ma'asum, infallible Imam as well. He said, how? Infallible Imam does dua for another infallible Imam. He could have do it himself. Why doesn't he do it himself? So this person, after, he came back to the Imam and asked the Imam, why didn't you do it yourself? And this person asked. He said, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam Muhammad. Was holier than the Kaaba itself. Was holier than the rock itself. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appointed places that He would like to be worshipped and for the mu'mineen to do dua in. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made times of the day. All the times of the day is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's time, right? But there are special times, like there are special places. The same thing He said in regard of Imam Ar-Rida salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Sallallahu alayhi wa The thing is, Imam, they they taught us how to do dua, the way we do the dua, where to do the dua. But what dua should we do? What kind of dua? Like, if there's the Imam sallallahu alaihi wasallam in front of you, what will you ask from him? There was a person who came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam after he heard that Rasulullah became a prophet and became a leader. He told him that I am this person who once you were a guest upon me, and I fed you. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ahlan wa sahlan. What do you want?" He said, "I want 80 sheep." Rasulullah, the narration states that أطرق برأسي ساعة. He waited a little bit for a while. Then he said, they grant him his wish. And the reason I think that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa wasallam, he waited, he didn't grant him immediately, for him to change his mind to something else instead of 80 sheep. The narration didn't even state what that person's name even is. So Rasulullah, when he left, he says he could have asked what the old lady of Israelites asked from Musa alayhi salam, ala nabina wa alihi wa alayhi afdal salatu wa salam. So what did she ask? Said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Musa to take the bones of Yusuf ala nabina wa alihi wa alayhi afdal salatu wa salam from Egypt to the promised land, to the Holy Land. And Musa, he was ordered to do this, but he didn't know the grave of Yusuf. So he asked around. They said there's an elderly lady who knows the grave of Yusuf. So they went to her, and he said to her that, show me the grave of Yusuf, and I will take you to heaven, and you will be in heaven. She said, give me the authority. Give me authority. What authority do you want? So give me authority. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, give it to her. See what she wants. He says, I want to be in heaven, but with you in your rank. In your rank. That's what I want. A lot of people came to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They asked him that we want to be in heaven. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, prolong your sujood. Prolong your sujood. A'inuni bitul sujood. Right? That's the promise of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But few asked to be with the rank of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Muhammad. So it's not just what you, from who you want to ask, but sometimes ask something that it's gonna last. And that is, again, one of my points is here, one of the du'as in the month of Rajab. And it's a holy month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose for His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam to announce His prophethood. Ba'athah is the 27th of Rajab. So it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose this month. Then in this dua that probably most of you at least they memorized, that we are ordered to do this dua throughout this month, not just throughout this month. It's good to, again, to do it other months of the year as well. After each salah is what? يا من أرجوه لكل خير وآمن سخطه عند كل شر. The one who I hope in every goodness that I will receive from him. يا من أرجوه لكل خير. Every goodness. That who I will seek refuge from in every endeavor and every calamity to is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That here we have this opportunity. In this life we have this opportunity to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not just the little. Of course, as I mentioned, we don't mind to be in a first or business or a premium class to be comfortable throughout this life. It's good. It's all good, right? That we have in the hadith that ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even for the salt of your dough and for the food of your animals. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala everything. Because to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what? When يا من أمره بين الكاف والنون قال للشيء كن يقول للشيء كن فيكون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just with be and everything shall be. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants you to elevate yourself. Not just from this dunya, but in the akhirah as well. In the akhirah, want something with the ranks of the prophets. Want something in the ranks of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Want something with the ranks of Aimma salawatullahi wa salam alayhi at very least. And the Imam salawatullahi wa salam alayhi, Al-Hadi says, this life is like a market. Some people will lose and some people will gain. And inshallah, we will not be among the people who lose in this life. Imam Al-Hadi alayhi salam was poisoned by Mu'taz al-Abbasi alayhi la'anullah. At the age of 42, after almost 34 years of imamah, Imam salawatullahi wa salam alayhi was in his deathbed, his kids surrounding him, Imam al-Askari, Aba Muhammad alayhi salam, his son Hussein, his daughter. And I can visualize the Imam, imagine my Imam alayhi salam facing Qibla, putting his hand on his sides, and his kids and his children surrounding him and his family surrounding him, surrounded by them. And you know, someone who is poisoned, someone who is in agony, when he asks something, his loved one rushed to grant him his wishes and his last wishes. They want him to be as comfortable as possible. They know that he's going from this life. So when he asks for water, they rush to give him water. They bring water to Imam salawatullahi wa salam alayhi. Giving the Imam salawatullahi wa salam alayhi the water gently. فتويلي عليك سيدي مولاي أبا عبد الله لا يومك يومك يا أبا عبد الله. When he is surrounded, like he said, Aslanul Falawat, the beast of the wilderness, who everyone stabbing the Imam alayhi salam, Imam on the ground, breathing his last breath, with the faintest of sound, he says, بحق جدي عطشان. By my grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, I am thirsty. Yet they refuse to give Imam salawatullahi wa salam alayhi a sip of water. Someone says, I saw Al-Husayn ibn Ali on the ground saying and asking people for a sip of water. Someone telling the Imam, you will not have any sip of water, you will not have any water, but you will go to hell and you will get from the lava of the hell. Ibn Rasulullah, this is the son of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. He says, no, but I go to my grandfather and my father Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, and they will give me from the everlasting cup that I will sip from. Someone says that I saw Imam Salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi in that way. And I asked Umar ibn Sa'd alayhi la'inullah, can I grant Imam his last wishes? Can I go and give Imam Salamullahi alayhi a sip of water? He said that Umar ibn Sa'd, he didn't say anything, but he approved by lowering his gaze and lowering his head. He said, I rushed to give the Imam Salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi water from the Euphrates. I brought the water, but all of a sudden I saw the head of Abu Abdullah on a big lens. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. These nights of the month of Rajab, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the reappearance of our Master, Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman, Ajjallah ta'ala Farajah al-Sharif, to make our faraj with the faraj of our Imam salawatullahi wa salam alayhi, to have mercy upon all of us, especially on the one who left us, and for the all mu'mineen and mu'minat who raise our hands, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant them their lawful wishes by this ayah al-mubarakah. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء 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 أمن يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء